better. So for those of you who, if you're watching and you were able to hear the caller, which you know what, you probably weren't able to hear the caller. Now that I think of it, you probably haven't heard anybody that's called in today, have you? All right. Well, I want to back up to the guy who just called. He called in. He's talking about he had a question about reflex sympathetic pain syndrome. Now, it's a very tough thing because this is a reflex sympathetic dystrophy. That's a tough word to say. Well, you try saying that 3 times in a row. Reflex sympathetic dystrophy. The problem with this is that there's no real cause for the syndrome. There's no real cure for it. Nobody really knows how it gets there. But we do know this, that it's a chronic progressive problem. All right. So if you have the reflex sympathetic dystrophy, what you're going to have is you're going to have severe pain, severe swelling, and changes of the changes of the skin. So with reflex sympathetic dystrophy, it is real sad because we don't know how it gets there. We don't know what to do for it in terms of there's not a lot of medical research on how you can get rid of it. And so the caller who called in just a minute ago, and he's still on hold, we're going to try and answer his question. He he noticed it after a knee surgery, and as a result, now his knee is just killing him. They did another MRI. There's no ACL, so he's got a lot of different things going on. So there's research out there that shows that it's got something to do with the central nervous system, and it's been diagnosed in people that are as young as 2 years old. Um, so there's just it's kind of tough, but there's nobody really knows what it's there for. So it's in situations like this where you have to do whatever you can to help somebody. They're going to be people with this are in a lot of pain. So typically, what we do is we find out if joints are moving properly. Because just because you have a lot of pain, that doesn't necessarily mean that that you have to have a lot of pain. I don't think that made a lot of sense. Just because you're in a lot of pain doesn't mean the joint mechanics are off. It can be a variety of different things. So pain is such a tough thing to try and correct because if you're just trying to correct pain, then um, it's sometimes like a dog chasing his tail. You have to find out the cause of the pain. And with reflex sympathetic dystrophy, if you don't really know the cause, then it's tough to correct it. Okay, we're coming back live. Welcome back to the Intended Lifestyle. This is your host, Dr. Brian Nymphius. I am the clinic director for Victory Chiropractic and Spinal Decompression, and I'm also the author of the Intended Lifestyle, which is your 40-day roadmap to better health. Now, when we left off the last segment, we had a caller, and he has what I would consider a pretty serious condition. He's got what's called reflex sympathetic dystrophy. So let's make sure that our caller's still there. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Hello. Did we lose him? Hello, are you there? Okay, sorry. And you know what? I realized during the break that I never got your name. Reese. Okay, Reese. So we're talking about the reflex sympathetic dystrophy that you have. And one of the problems with reflex sympathetic dystrophy is that they have no real answer for what causes it. Okay? Right? Oh, wow. Oh, yikes. Okay, so you had the ACL surgery. Then you came back, you had another MRI done, and there's no ACL left? Is that, did you know it wasn't going to be in the ACL, or is that kind of a byproduct of the surgery that didn't work out like you wanted it to? Right? Yes, it is. we don't want to go into the conspiracy theories of why he did it. We'll just go with he thought it was the best thing at that time, right? Yeah. Well, what it sounds like, and this may be something that low-level light therapy or cold laser therapy may be what you would benefit from the most. Because what that may be able to do is get in there and help to stimulate some endorphins to help reduce some of the pain and help to start regenerating some cellular growth so that your body can start to heal and get better quicker. But it's not red and blue, it's only red. And what it's able to do, it's able to penetrate varying depths down. And there's a decent amount of research out there, and it may help. It's worth a shot. The other thing to look at is that we ought to make sure that if you had a surgery, especially something like an ACL, and even though you've had the staples and the biodegradable screws, there may be something off with the joint biomechanics of your knee. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. So what you're describing is you have some serious altered biomechanics. So that's going to be playing a large part into why you're not able to recover as quickly as you should or like you would want to. Yeah. I tell you what, let me ask you this. Is there any way you can make an appointment and let me examine you, Monday or Wednesday, sometime early part of next week? Well, yeah, at the office. We have that cold laser therapy at the office. We do, yeah. And what I'd also like to do is I'd like to feel and look at those MRIs, feel your leg, look at the MRIs, and see what the joint biomechanics are. Maybe there's some way that with some manual manipulation we can get some joint biomechanics a little bit more stable in that knee. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It may be, yeah, maybe a byproduct. Maybe there's some extra scar tissue that's there now, or it could just be, a degenerative process that had been building up for quite some time, and then after the surgery, it just became that much more obvious, so to speak. How's the bone density look? Okay. Oh wow. Yeah. No, you don't, but at least you know there was a staple there, which is a big reason why you probably had that excess intensity. Okay. Oh, well, if you've been racing motocross, you've had a lot of vibration going on in there, so they've had a chance to, with Wolff's Law, to build more bone tissue. Okay, listen, Reese, do you know how to get in touch with me at the office? Yes, sir, or you can visit us at victorychiropractic.com. Give us a call and let me know when we can get you set up so I can take a look at that knee for you. Yeah, if you can, whatever you have, bring with you. Excellent. Great. Well, listen, Reese, I got to cut you off. We're heading into, we're actually closing out the show. Thanks for the call, Reese. You're welcome. Well, thank you very much.